Hi everybody, welcome to lesson 3 of the science of well-being. Now I hope some of you guys took some time last week to try to overcome one of these annoying features of the mind. Today I'll be talking about the last one, which is that our mind's intuitions are often wrong. So let's get started. In lesson 1, I talked about how these things are all things that society tends to value and think will make us happy. And then I continued to talk about how that wasn't true and that some of these actually make you less happy. However, I was kind of lying. With a good job and the perfect grades, you can actually sort of feel happier. With a good job, it's not the money though that makes you happy. It's two other things, which we'll talk about in the next few slides. And with the perfect grades, it's not the grades that make you happy, but it's the mindset. If you have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, you'll feel happier. And those with a growth mindset tend to have better grades anyway. And so it's not really the grades that make you happy, it's your mindset. But for now, let's talk about a good job. So with a good job, there's two things. One is that you use your signature strengths. So there's these things called character strengths, and they are just personality traits that are deemed really positive and good, just universally. There's 24 of them, and everybody has all of them to some extent. However, your top ones, the ones that you're best in, are your signature strengths. And so some of those might be kindness or loyalty or peace. And you can find out what yours are at this link if you want to check out the survey. But coming back to jobs, the more strengths you use at work, the more happy you'll be. So here you can see you'll be more productive and you have higher job satisfaction. And you can see that the more strengths that you use, the happier you feel. And for some reason, 4 is just like a really sweet spot. And you'll feel happier and have less depressive symptoms. The second thing to a good job is to increase flow, which is the state where you're just so totally absorbed in whatever task you're doing that you lose track of time and just sort of forget about your bodily needs like thirst or hunger. I'm sure you guys have all felt it before. Perhaps you were working on something you were really passionate about or doing some sort of sport. If your job can help you be in this state of flow, you'll feel better. So lots of people define flow as something that requires a high challenge. So it's not just something really easy that can be done. It's something that requires high challenge and that you have the high enough skill to be able to tackle this challenge. And so you can see those who have work that are high challenge and high skill feel better. Okay, so those are the things that we as society think will make us happy, but don't actually. We're gonna also quickly talk about healthy practices, which are things that I'm sure have been preached to you as things that will make you healthier and happier, but it's just not intuitive to us that it will make us happy. So sleep and exercise, these things, like I'm sure people have talked to you about. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it will increase your well-being. Let's talk about things that we don't really think about will increase our well-being. One thing is act of kindness. So in this study by Dunn et al. In 2008, they gave participants money to spend on either themselves or other people. So it's either $5 or $20. And they found that those who spent it on other people felt happier than if they spent it on themselves. And that if you spent $5, your happiness was basically the same as if you spent $20 on other people. So it doesn't matter how big or small your act of kindness is. If you do that act of kindness, your happiness will boost. And the magnitude of whatever that act of kindness is doesn't really matter that much. Another thing is time affluence. So they found that people who value time tend to feel happier than those who value money. And so it's better to have more time on your hands than you need than more money on your hands than you need. The second last thing is social connection, and I think this is super applicable during times like the pandemic when it's hard to connect with other people. Having these relationships and just connecting with others really helps with your well-being. And you can see that in this study where people were instructed to either try to form a connection with somebody on like a subway train or on a bus. I can't quite remember which one. It was like a public mode of transportation. And those that tried to forge a connection with others, with any stranger at all on that bus or train, felt happier than those who just sat there alone doing their own thing. And finally, meditation. Now, I feel like meditation is also something that's sort of preached at us, but I think the study really showed me the importance of meditation. So in this study, people were just pinged at random times of the day, and this ping just asked them to write down whatever they were doing at that moment and rate their happiness. And so the left to right, so horizontally, it will show you how happy you are. So this side is like 10 out of 10 happiness, and over here is like really sad. And then you can see how big the balls are is how often people wrote that down as whatever their task was. So here you can see a lot of people wrote down working. And you can see that those who are mind wandering, these three are mind wandering, tend to feel less happy than those who are not mind wandering. Even if it was pleasant mind wandering, you still feel slightly happier when you're not mind wandering. And so meditation really helps with training you not to mind wander. Now, mind wandering is super common. We do it, I think a little less than half the time, but meditation helps you not mind wander, which makes you happier, but it also increases gray matter in your brain, which also helps with your grades, and it also can help increase social connection depending on whatever meditation you are doing. So meditation doesn't just help with mind wandering, but it can also help with the other things that I've talked about already. And so that's everything. These are the things that I talked about will actually make us happier. And so even though our mind intuitively makes us think of that list that I showed near the beginning of the lesson, that society values and things will make us happy, these are actually the things that will. And it's backed by science, as I've shown you throughout this lesson. And so your homework for this week is to pick one of these things and try to do it at least once a day. So maybe, especially during the pandemic, every day just try to connect to someone you haven't really talked to in a while. Or you can try doing a 5-minute meditation every day, or just trying to get more sleep or more exercise. Any of these to try to make yourself a little happier. Good luck and see you next week.